Coach. I know we've got to be out by 12:15, so we're gonna rip right through this. We're gonna go ahead and get started with Connor. You can go ahead, Connor.
Hey, John, I know that probably guess what's coming. What's the latest on Malik that you can tell us?
I think you can guess what's coming too with my predictable answer here. No, I'm just kidding. No, look, we got some, did all the imaging, positive news. There's nothing abnormal, that you aren't ready to see, with the dislocated shoulders. So I think we're optimistic that we can get him back this season. I think the hardest part is a lot of it has to do with his stability, which right now he's pretty sore still. So we have to see how much time that takes. Is it a couple weeks? Is it more? But he's going to be out. I mean, obviously he's not playing, in the next week or so at a minimum. I'd say it's a few weeks. But Malik will do whatever he can to get back on the floor. And we're happy the fact that we didn't see anything crazy in there, just what you would normally see from a dislocated shoulder. So he'll attack rehab with our medical team, and we'll get him back as soon as we can, while still being really smart about not rushing this at all with him. We need him back uh, fully healthy.
Royal.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. Good.
Coach, can you just speak on the importance of your ball club playing at Madison Square Garden this late in the season against the Illinois squad that's also going through adversity? Several players out with injuries. They were also battling the flu as well. But just speak on just the importance of your team going up to New York at Madison Square Garden.
I think it's just the fact that, it's a big time opponent. Madison Square Garden's as special of a place that you can play in the world. It's been great for us, over the years, just the environment, right? Obviously, we have a big fan base up there too, and the support that we feel is incredible. It feels a little bit different. I'd be lying to you. I mean, it's the fact that we're in February and you're prepping for somebody you haven't been watching the same way, like you would a conference opponent. But I think that's what's exciting. It simulates an NCAA tournament game. I mean, obviously Illinois is an NCAA tournament type of team. Uh, Look, losing Mraz Johnson is a big loss. Just like for us not having Malik, but at this point of the year, you're going to play that comes with injuries, sicknesses that can come with this point of the year. So I just think it's a great test for our team playing a neutral site game against a great opponent who we have a lot of respect for. We're going to learn a lot about our team Saturday night.
Brendan.
Hey, John. Yeah, I know you've talked a lot about how this game came to be. Dates didn't work in December. Obviously, the appeal of the Garden, getting another tournament caliber game in. But I guess my question is, like, looking forward, is this something that you would like to replicate in future years, having a one-off like this in February and in the era of super conferences, especially with you guys having a 20-game conference schedule? How realistic is that even?
I told myself I wanted to wait until after we played the game to make that decision. But I'm not making that decision based off of winning or losing a game. I think you make that decision based on is it right or not. And prepping for it and where we are, like just with everything that I know, we're going to do everything we can to do this again next year. I just think it makes a ton of sense. To be honest, we're already working on opponent location, where it's going to be a high level game. And to get that in February, where it's not just home or away, it's really look, even the balls that we're playing with, it's going to be the balls you play with in the NCAA tournament. Like that's those kinds of things that just they may seem small, but I think it's great for our team to get just a small taste of outside of the bubble that we're in the environment, the opponent. Those things have to be right. But that's what we're working on to make that happen for next year also.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Dave.
Thanks, Kyle. Hey, John, I wanted to ask you about rebounding. And obviously, you guys have been a good rebounding team this year. You're the tallest team in the country, so that makes sense. But you had a little dip against Clemson and all that, and come back really well there. What overall, though, is your assessment of how this team rebounds? Because it seems like you have guards lead you in rebounding as much as you have your bigs do that.
Yeah, it's a unique team, Steve, because it's not just let's say one guy cleaning up everything. Although Cooper has been a really good rebounder all year, and last game what he did was important. Um, Sion, come on, our big guys, Khan, Tyrese, Isaiah, just anybody cracking down. I think that's part of the strength of our team. And so if you look statistically, I mean, we're top-notch defensive rebounding percentage. I mean, we're high level with what we do on that end. You already mentioned it. I wasn't happy with the Clemson game. They beat us to balls, and we learned from that. It's going to be a huge key Saturday. I mean, they fly to the boards, uh, whether it's with Johnson or without him. And for our guys, we've emphasized it a lot. So they have the toughness, they have the size, and they have the feel for where the ball is going to go. I think a couple times that we haven't done well, not from a lack of effort. It's just understanding, a long shot's going to equal a long rebound. So sometimes we've overrun the ball. Short shots are going to be shorter rebounds. So just learning, where the ball is going to go. Uh, but our team has been a great rebounding team, and that has to continue.
Jim?
Yeah, hey, John. I want to circle back to Roy's question for a little bit. Over the years, New York City's been very good to Duke, but whether it be the Meadowlands or the Garden or even Brooklyn. Can you talk a bit about what it's like to be able to go on the road but still have that home away from home advantage?
Yeah, New York's been incredible. I mean, I remember my first time playing there freshman year as a player playing Gonzaga, and then we played Pitt, and then we played Gonzaga again, played UConn up there. Um, some crowds have been more close to 50-50. Others have been more, where it feels like a home game. I don't know what Saturday will be like, but I do know every time we've played there, just the energy of the building is incredible. And it simulates NCAA tournament game. I think that's what this team has been accustomed to this year with the different environments we played in, something we don't take for granted. And the support that we feel just anywhere, when we've been in Barclays before or just up in the Northeast or New York area, uh, with the amount of fans and support, alumni we have up there, you can just feel the support. It just means a lot to us and to our guys.
Thanks.
Lewis?
Hey, John, what would you say you learned from Malik's first stint of injury with his knee that can benefit you all now with his shoulder?
Yeah, well, I think it's two things. One is what you learn about the rest of the team. And, look, we have incredible confidence in Pat. We also know we have versatility with different lineups we can go to. Um, and no matter what, Malik's a different player than anybody on our team. And so what he brings to the table is different than anybody else. So obviously you have to adjust somewhat based on who you're playing, mainly his versatility on defense. But look, Pat, come on, Cooper, Mason, like all those guys, pretty versatile, with what they do, especially on the defensive end. So we're going to be us end of the day. We just know we have to pick Malik up. I think the second thing is you learn a lot about a guy when they go through when they go through an injury or when they go through adversity. And Malik, he's tough as could be, man. Like he's tough as nails, and he'll do whatever he can to get back on the court as soon as possible. So we need to protect him from himself. We need to attack the rehab with him. But Malik will do whatever to get back out there to be with his teammates. And I know that from the first time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Connor?
John, Pat has had such a different schedule and timeline as normal freshman. How has he stayed on the developmental path to get to this point where he can give you big minutes in important spots?
Um, well, Pat, I think it started with him, like where he just is taking coaching at such a high level. And, when an injury can happen early in the season or you're not playing as much, you can very quickly, that's when relationships are formed. That's when trust is formed. And so Pat took everything that our staff told him he had to do. He addressed it, he worked at it, And I think our staff has just done a great job of bringing him along. Our Coach Will Stevens, our strength coach, his body, just how it's transformed. Justin Robinson, our entire coaching staff, um, and then his family. Like his family has just been incredibly supportive of him and letting him go through some stuff here, which has made him tougher. It's made him better. And that's part of what the process needs to be because Pat's he's going to be a great player. He's on the path to becoming a great player with the work he has to put in and the development along the way. But he's got incredible feel. He's smart as could be. So for me, when I put him out there, I trust he knows what he's doing. Like he just does. And as a freshman, I think sometimes that takes more time where Pat, it comes natural for him, which is a big advantage.
Brendan?
Yeah, John, I know you've talked at times this year about complacency and fighting the human element of things. Just wondering, you guys are announced as a 1 seed on Saturday, first time in your tenure. Is that something that you give any credence to? Do you even address that with the team? Is that something you completely omit, don't give, care about at all? Where do you sort of come down on that?
It's funny. I didn't even mention one word about it to our guys, and they know. They know what's at stake. They know what we're playing for. It's great to it's great to get a gauge of where you're at, but look, that can change like this. And so for us, I think complacency, I don't worry about at this stage of the season. If anything, I think that helps us to feel a deeper sense of urgency and then understanding just how fragile it all is. Margin of error is small. So I think if anything, that's helped motivate this group. But we haven't played for like our goal from the beginning of the season wasn't to be a 1 seed. Obviously, that's something you want to do, of course, but that wasn't the goal. The goal is to be at our best and to win a championship, And so in order to do that, you got to take the right steps along the way, which I think this group has.
And the last question from Aaron Beard.
Better be a good one, Aaron. This is like a lot of pressure on you,
Yeah.
man.
Well, if he called Brendan's second question after mine, then it would be on Brendan. So, I blame Kyle. I did want to circle back on Caleb. Just kind of how are you working with him right now just to try to help bring him along, which has been kind of an up and down stretch. You've talked about this at various points, but now we're this back half of February now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's I don't think Caleb and I would say this isn't how we thought the season would go for him. And you can do one of two things. You can make excuses, I'm saying for either of us, or you can point the finger, or you keep doubling down on the process and addressing what has to be done for it to improve. And that's what I focused on with Caleb. And, our group has played at a really high level. I still feel we need him. I still feel at some point here there's going to be a game, a breakthrough. Um, but for me, that happens in practice. And you have to just throw yourself into, which is hard because as a player, you want to make an impact. But you have to throw yourself into just being consumed with competing in the game. And we have to get him where he's playing instinctual and competing instinctually. And I'll always keep supporting him and building him out. I'm not going to get into the private conversations, of course, the private things, but overall, it's the not giving up. Like there's what, 5 games left, right? Am I going crazy here? It's 5 games, Kyle. Okay. 5 games. You see, Aaron's question was, I'm just kidding. Your question was a good one, but there's 5 games left. It feels like it's over in a second, but I still feel we have a lot of basketball left to be played. And so we got to have everybody ready, Caleb included, because just like I said with Malik, Caleb has a different skill set too, where his ability to break people down, his ability to get in the paint. But at the same time, our team has a good rhythm. So that's something as a coach you're trying to balance and you're trying to bring everybody along, handle it with care, honesty, and we'll keep working with them. And I think there's a breakthrough here to be had for him.
Thanks,
All right.
Coach. Appreciate the
Thank you,
time.
guys.